Good morning. A few thoughts on the parable of the sower. Imagine a farmer happily flinging seeds to left and to right without caring where they land. You shake your head, puzzled, as you watch him wasting so much seed for no apparent reason, except that he's got plenty. And we know that serious farmers never waste anything, especially any of their seed, since that is their means of living. But isn't that exactly what the sower in our parable is doing? The seed is so abundant, the sower doesn't seem to care where it lands. What the sower trusts is that God will provide the response in the hearts of the people where the word is being sown. God's generous abundance should overflow from us. We should dispense it everywhere. But who are these others we should feel compelled to share God's abundant grace with? Well, Jesus elaborates on this by describing each of the different soil types where the seed lands. We all know people from each of these soil types, and most of us shift between one soil and another, sometimes on the same day, sometimes within an hour. We'd like to believe that we're always the good soil, but if we're honest, we probably aren't, at least not all of the time. People are complex creations of thoughts, feelings, and the ability to act on them. When we experience discomfort, we want it to go away and may act impulsively in order to find comfort or release from the pain and anxiety that we are feeling. Sometimes it isn't a big deal. But sometimes all of the little impulsive things that we do add up to extremely damaging consequences, both for us and for those around us. Right now, we are seeing an alarming number of deaths from COVID-19. But there are also deaths from acts of violence, relationship struggles, job losses, bankruptcies, and despair from the anxiety of daily living. Each of these causes people to behave reactively and with dire consequences. Our reactions take root from a misleadingly small seed, the desire to be our own God, a desire to have what we want, when we want it, regardless of the costs or who else may be affected. St. Augustine of Hippo reminded us many centuries ago that no one should say that he or she is more worthy of life than any other. And if we are to seek and serve Christ in others by loving our neighbors as ourselves, then this is the standard toward which we must grow. The Bible is full of people putting themselves before God and their neighbor. Think of Esau in today's Old Testament lesson, who sold his birthright for a plate of stew. Esau comes in from the field, ravenous because he has been working hard all day. Jacob knows this and takes advantage of it. He knows that all that Esau can think about is food. This is his immediate need. So Jacob tells him that he can have food if he gives him his birthright. A birthright was very important in those times. A person could sell it or renounce it, but there were consequences. It would be like trading your entire inheritance for a Big Mac burger after one hard day's work. Burgers are tasty, but not that tasty. When we are focused on our desires, our envy, our fits of rage, our discord, our hatred, the good soil of our hearts turns into a wasteland of thorns and rocks. Yes, our impulsive behavior can get us into serious trouble. When we give in without tampering them, we end up with no depth of spirit, choked by the thorns of the world. We yield nothing, neither 100, nor 60, nor 30-fold. Our impulsive actions break the cycle of God's abundant grace, and others do not experience the love of God through us, and we lose the chance to share the abundance that we have experienced and received with others. Have you ever met someone that you immediately felt is a holy person? There's something about the way they move and live and have their being that speaks to you on a spiritual level. We might say that they are living in the Spirit, and how we would long for what they have. But we do have what they have. We have the seeds that were planted in us at our baptism. The same seeds that have been enriched over the years by coming together in community for strength and for renewal. Such seeds sown in the good soil of our hearts blossom into love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. They blossom into the fruit of the Spirit. If the seeds of God's love flower into these fruits in us, then what do the new seeds look like? There is pollination and cross-pollination and new growth all over the place. The cycle of sowing begins again. We go about our daily business, living in God's abundance and being sowers among those we encounter. We don't often get to see where the seed falls, but the point is that we continue to sow. Our mission is to spread the good news everywhere. There are many ways to do this. By smiling at someone who is feeling lonely, by watching the kids so that a couple can have some time together by themselves, by donating money to a church or an organization that helps those who are marginalized, by speaking up for a neighbor when you witness an injustice, by praying for those you dislike. The list can go on and on. We are both sowers and the soil. Without the one, the other would not make sense. When we go out today and tomorrow, rejoicing in the power of the Spirit, may we sow abundantly, and may the seed that is sown in us bear the plentiful fruit of God's love. Amen.